Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 30th of January. My disclaimer: I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my tactical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own shots. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Now, in terms of the seasonality, we are now in a bearish. We've had bearish leading days the last couple of days. That didn't deliver on Wednesday. Did deliver yesterday. And we've got another one today because it's the last trading day of the month. Next week leans bullish. We've got very bullish leading day on Monday, which is the first day of February. And then we've got bullish leading days on Tuesday and Thursday with a somewhat less but still bearish leading day on Wednesday. All right. What I'm thinking might happen in terms of the bigger picture. Hey, Doug. What I'm thinking might happen in terms of the bigger picture is that we see maybe a bit more downside today. And the next week, we have an important inflection point where we do have a possibility that we might see a breakup. And if we don't see a breakup, that will start to look significant because we had such a bullish leading week and we could have done. So I'm going to be watching that with enormous interest. In the short term, we've got a nice looking double top here on ES, a small one, very nice looking double top here on NQ. That's a big one. But we have made the new all-time high on the Qs, but we haven't made it on NQ itself. And really, I was looking for that. We've come very, very close. It might be close enough, but I'm thinking they'll probably get knocked off next week. RTY, possible head and shoulders forming here, but not something I'd state with any great confidence. YM is the star of the show. Because I drew in this triangle about a day and a half ago, and you can see it was hit overnight, I think. Well, depending on what happens today, this is currently looking like a beautiful classical triangle. And if so, this would be A, B, C. We'd see a move up in the D, bit of a pullback, and then we'd come back up and we would retest the high, giving us a nicer triangle than the one that's just broken down on Ethereum. And this one, you quite often get beautiful classical triangles which really respect the trend lines. This would be currently one of those. We've also got a little level bottom here, which is suggesting that we could, is a pattern that could take us back up to triangle resistance. If this triangle continues forming, it is a foreshadowing that we are very likely to retest the all-time high on YM. All right, looking at DAX, came down, testing the monthly pivot, which isn't hugely significant because, of course, it's only the monthly pivot for today. And ESDX has held up better, neither of them too far from the high. And Nikkei, which I'm adding, is in a triangle as well, and it's a nice one. Again, a beautiful classical triangle. This one's a little further advanced because it's made this low here. This would be A, B, C. We'd be in D at the moment, as I'm thinking we may be starting in YM, but we are obviously closer to the D wave target. Then you'd see a bit of a pullback, and then you'd see the retest of this high. So I haven't finished setting up this chart yet. I'm going to be adding the pivots over the weekend, but I'm going to start charting this and just adding it to the normal ones. All right, in terms of DX, we want to look at the bigger picture. Bear with me. Okay. ES, we had quite a push below the daily middle band yesterday, but we held above it, and it really is the close that matters on the daily middle band. So it doesn't really matter if we had a push below it intraday. On the hourly chart, the RSI 5 sell signal that had fixed made target. On SPX, the 15-minute sell signal, RSI 14 sell signal that had fixed made target. So, and we're much of the way back towards the highs. In terms of the Qs, we back tested the daily middle band and slightly below, almost made it to the 50 DMA. And again, closed considerably above. I'm still looking for a target at a retest of the high, but it's not this high, which has already been retested. It's the high on NDX itself, which we are just short of. I'm leaning towards seeing that in the next trading day, next 2 or 3 trading days, but really in the first 3 days of next week. Looking at the hourly chart, no divergence. The 15-minute chart, no divergence. We didn't really set up any divergence at the lows yesterday. Looking at Dire, we closed below the daily middle band yesterday. This is Only very slightly though. Effectively, we've had 3 closes on the band in the last 3 days. So I'm not taking this really as a clear break so far, but it's moving towards that. But I'm thinking that we're likely to get a boost into next week, and we're likely to see a retest of the all-time high, which we didn't quite see here at 496. The RSI 14 buy signal is still in play, so we will see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at IWM. IWM, we've got RSI 14 sell signal fix, RSI 5 sell signal fix. This is encouraging me to think that we might not see a major breakthrough tomorrow. We tested the daily middle band, which is actually more than it managed to do last week. But obviously closed well above it. I'm thinking these will likely play out. Well, certainly I'm thinking this RSI 5 one will likely play out. It might be if we come back and retest the highs, we lose the RSI 14 one. In terms of the hourly chart, we had an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and that has now finally made target. We didn't quite make it up down to the short-term rising support. On the 15-minute chart, no divergence. We had a buy signal here, it made target, so I'll be updating that on the weekend. Could we be forming a head and shoulders here in IWM? I'm thinking probably not. So it wouldn't be a particularly well formed one if it was. Looking at DAX, DAX has been much weaker, and I'm actually starting to wonder. It's testing the 50 DMA at the moment. It's well below the daily middle band. I'm thinking this is a pretty good opportunity to reach the retest of the highs tomorrow. We will see. Nikkei has been holding the daily middle band basically for 4 days here. I think it's probably going to hold. If so, I'm looking for a retest this high here at 54.5, and that is backed up by the triangle that I'm looking at on the hourly chart. All right, let's have a look at DX. DX, we're seeing a bit of a rally here. I was saying I was expecting to see a higher high over here. Not entirely sure it's done that. Don't think it has. Leaning towards seeing at least a bit higher here, but this looks very much like a bear flag forming. That's because I think it is. The 60-minute buy signal has reached the possible near miss target now. In terms of the other currencies, EURUSD sell signals reached the possible near miss target. Same with GBP USD, USD JPY. The buy signal reached the full target. USD CAD buy signals not reached the full target yet. May do that today. And Australian dollar near miss target on the sell signal, and getting close but no cigar on NZUSD. In terms of ZB, ZB, we retraced much of the way back down. We still got a weak 60-minute buy signal fix, but it really is weak. Bigger picture, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this low and then lower in the not too distant future. Looking at ZN, this still looks like a bear flag forming, and I would just redraw this trend line slightly. Doesn't seem to be speaking to me so far. Wait a second. Right, can be a little finicky. So I think this is a likely bear flag forming, and this will retest the low and probably go down because we have some big patterns heading down. I'm not seeing any particular reason to think those won't make target. Right, CL. I think we've been seeing quite a boost here. I'm leaning towards seeing the 68 area. This is mainly about, and we've got, there's nothing really major changing in the oil markets, but of course, Trump is threatening Iran. Iran's a significant oil producer, but we've basically got big question marks appearing over two of the serious rogue oil producers, who are Russia and Iran. Iran, of course, Russia, of course, says that's actually a big producer. It produces about 10 million barrels a day. I think it did 9 million last year, and the Ukrainians have been knocking out quite a lot of their production capacity, and now their shadow fleet is being confiscated, and that's where an awful lot of it gets exported through. I think that could cause a significant supply disruption. We could also see a serious supply disruption in Iran, so this could be the start of a very large move up. We will see. This is the one I've been talking about on the bigger picture, but I'm not sure we're there yet. But I'm thinking we're probably going to be there in months, not least because I think there's a pretty good chance that the Russians are in big trouble. So if that's the case, then that we can see a major supply disruption there. And we've only got about excess of about 4 million barrels a day in the markets. If as and when the Russians start having serious problems, much of that could disappear, and that would turn a sizable surplus into a more sizable squeeze setup. and we could see a big move up then. And I'm wondering, well, the targets would suggest 100. All right, we've got a nice looking rising channel here. Wondering if we almost lost that this morning, so I'm wondering if that's going to survive. Nice move up, long since made the head and inverted head and shoulder target, of course. Nothing really looking as though it's forming here. 60-minute sell signal fixed, not made target yet. RBOB continuing higher. NG has finally retested the high from the obvious bull flag channel. So that has now retested the high, and we will see whether or not this continues higher or not. I'm keeping an open mind. Now that the February contract has expired, there's no numbers, looking at like 6s and 7s and so on. There's no particular reason to think that'll follow through, unless we're about to see serious natural gas disruption. But I don't think Iran's a big producer of that. We will see how that goes. We are seeing a fairly serious cold snap. Now, GC, I was saying that this wasn't sustainable. It actually dropped over 10% from yesterday's high to today's low, which is pretty frisky stuff. So I'm wondering if we're topping out for a larger consolidation. I do not think the bull market in gold is over, or silver. I think the attractiveness of precious metals is, of course, it's something you can hold without having a counterparty. I don't think that attraction's going away at the moment. I really don't. So I don't think this is the end of the bull market, but I'm thinking we might be setting up for a serious period of consolidation. Looking at SI, we've actually got a double top here, which is broken down. It's not particularly nice, which is why I haven't marked in the targets. But there is definitely scope to go lower. Palladium could be a bull flag forming. But again, serious retrace there too. Platinum, again. We've given up quite a lot of the recent gains. In fact, actually, platinum's all the way back to the beginning of January now. So that is, obviously, that's extreme. But even GC is back down to, I don't know, it loses 10% and it's only back to January the 22nd. Wow, this has been a hell of a move. All right, HG. We this was, I don't know, was this going up with precious metals? Really, that seems kind of strange. But this big spike up seems to have been rejected. We will see how that goes, but I think this may well be topping out too. It's not sustaining the breakup so far. If it does, that's a different story. But because this is an opportunity to break up, but at the moment we're seeing breakup and rejection. That could follow through to the downside. KC, what we have lost is the very nice looking double top we had here for quite a while. Looking at KC, I was expecting to see a retest this low. We've seen it. May well continue lower. SB looks like a flag which is breaking down. Obvious target would be a retest of this low here, which is in about 1393 area. This may be on the way down to that target I've been talking about on a regular basis on the big picture at 9. CC, potential double bottom here. We're on a 60-minute buy signal, thinking we might see a rally. CT, obviously already retested the low. We've got a decent looking double bottom here, but it could continue lower. Lumber, we've got a nice looking double bottom here, which is broken up, but hasn't really been doing anything since. Bigger picture, well, the longer we hang around here, the more likely it is that the next move will be down. Bigger picture is down. So we will see. ZW, 60-minute sell signal is fixed, and we're pretty close to the first double bottom target. Somewhat to my surprise, because really, after this retrace here, I was thinking that was probably failing. But this looks as though it's going to make target now. On corn, 60-minute sell signal fixed there as well. Looks like a bear flag forming. On soy, 60-minute sell signal made target. It's trying to break up from this double bottom with a target in the 1104 area. On ZL, we've got a nice looking double top, which is trying to break down, but not successfully so far. On live cattle, the double top failed, and we've got a larger potential double top there. And HE, nice looking channel, 60-minute sell signals reached the possible near miss target, could be forming a head and shoulders here. All right, great. In that case, let's have a quick look at questions, of which we have none. In which case, I think it's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys after a great weekend. All right, cheers, guys.